Two-time Hall of Fame inductees, Brent Godarzi and Marty Young. Back-to-back #1 trucking firm in the nation. Back-to-back best attorney and best law firm in East Texas.
Hello Buckeye Nation, Jeff Rash here. Welcome to the Gilmer Coaches Show. I'm joined today, once again, by our athletic director and head football coach, Mr. Alan Metzel, and we are here to discuss the game with the Van Vandals, as well as the next game, the fourth round of the playoffs, against our old nemesis, the Hawks. The Hawks from Pleasant Grove. So PG's up next on the list. We're going to talk about that here in a few moments, but in the beginning we're going to talk a little bit about the Van Vandal game, watch some highlights, and then we'll roll into what's next for the Buckeyes. Before we get started on this game, the talk of East Texas, we would be remiss not to mention it here, is that Carthage exited the playoffs in round 3. Right. It took a dive to China Springs. Well, I understand that you made it back in time to watch a little bit of that game, fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts about that?
Well, Carthage is on a bracket that is really difficult. Playing China Springs, who's a tremendous team. West Orange Stark is in that bracket. Cuero's in that bracket. Navarro's in that bracket. We knew that they were going to have some challenging games, and it's one of those deals when you got to play back to back, really tough games. It's hard to stay up for those kind of things, and it was one of those nights where China Springs was ready to go, and they got the win. It kind of sends shockwaves through East Texas when Carthage goes out. Yeah. It does.
Yeah, through the state.
No doubt.
Yeah, everybody was talking about that. That was kind of the whole conversation of the weekend pretty much for everybody, especially when it happened on Friday.
Right. Well, and it was kind of an upset weekend across all the A's, with Aledo going down, and Canadian went out, and Argyle went out. So there was a whole lot of teams.
I think you said 8 defending state champions
are out now.
In the third round.
I think 6 this weekend, but 8 total.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty phenomenal. And you didn't expect that from Carthage. We did talk about the fact that I'd much rather have our route to the state championship than Argyle's. Than Carthage's. They had to play some
Board A's.
Yeah, because if they had one, now China Springs has to go on and play West Orange Stark, and we know them pretty well.
They're really good.
And they're good. Yeah. So we could see either one of those two if we're fortunate enough to make it. Past PG and past probably Salina. If we make it past those two teams, we could see either probably one of these two teams, I would imagine, in the playoffs. But pretty phenomenal that they went out. And I, as a fan, as much as I would like to have had another crack at Carthage, I'm really kind of happy that this happened because I think sometimes teams just line up differently, and so I would like to have a fresh look at somebody in the state championship. Carthage is a great team, and
no doubt
they play us quite well.
They have.
They play us well.
Well, for us, we're looking at beating this next game.
Yeah, I know. I know you're focused on the next game.
We'll worry about that.
Yeah.
If we get there in 3 weeks, then great.
Yeah, we've got you already planning for the state championship. Yeah. You're wanting to get past PG.
Yeah, I got to get Monday ready.
Yeah. Well, let's look back for a moment.
Okay.
Let's go back and talk about Van here for a few minutes. You were right. Everything you said about Van last week about they look a lot like Lindale. Right. They're very well coached. You could see that. It was evident they could read the defense. I thought was just reading the line, and every time they'd take a step, that linebacker was in the right spot every time. So they were very well coached, as you said. Their coach Moffitt, I believe, has been there 12 years. Yes. So they're not a new program.
No.
These guys are pretty good.
Tough. They don't quit. They keep playing.
Every down.
Yeah. Even when they have adversity, they fight through. They have a program. That's the thing that what we pride ourselves in here. Well, they have one too.
Yeah.
And so you admire other places that do a good job of that.
Yeah, well, they did. Yeah. And they were exactly as you build them. And it seemed like that we were having a little trouble. You and I talked about this right after the game, in the coaches show right prior to the game, sponsored by North Texas Credit Union. It felt like we were a little sluggish at first. I don't know I don't know what term to use. Timing was off a little bit.
It was on several plays.
Is that because you're playing a good team, or were you just off?
Well, I think we have clicked pretty well for about 3 weeks in a row.
3 or 4.
Correct. Yeah. And I think that it's unrealistic to think that you're going to do that in every single game.
Yeah.
And so obviously they're a good team. They presented some problems for us. I think some of it we were just probably a little bit off and weren't clicking quite like we had been the past several weeks. And so you add that together and it becomes problematic. And the thing I was pleased with was the guys handled it. They understood it. They didn't get emotional.
No, they stayed calm.
Yeah, they just kept playing the next play. And then, of course, we hit that stride, and there we went. We took that jump. And that's what we expect.
And I'm sure you were happy that penalties weren't much of a factor in this game. This crew really let the boys play. Almost too far the other direction a little bit in some situations.
I'd rather officials put it on the guys.
I would
the guys win or lose the game.
Yeah.
So, but
I would too. I'd much rather have this than what we had last week.
Sure.
So let's watch a few highlights of that game. I thought it was just a great game to watch.
Especially the fans. Oh my gosh, great atmosphere, packed out.
A lot of noise.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was. Those are the fun games. And Tyler's a great place to play.
It is.
So let's talk about some of the highlights. The first one, we've got 11 for you to look at. First one was a 71-yard touchdown pass from Brandon Tennyson to Parker Gilo. You and I talked about this the last couple of weeks, I think. But, Parker has come on. I mean, Parker's always been a good football player. These last 4 or 5 games, man, he is just, in everything he's done, it's been good.
You're correct.
I mean, he is really playing like lights out.
The way he's catching the ball, the way he runs his routes, the way he blocks, the way he finishes plays, he's played well, I'd say, really for the last month.
He would be in the running for an MVP on that offensive side of the ball. And you said they were double teaming Rowan Fluellen all evening, which opened up.
He and Jay Rockwell.
And Jay Rockwell,
They had a big game.
Let's watch this 71-yard touchdown pass.
You're going to see here, we run a play similar to what we ran against quite a few times against Caddo Mills, which is our bubble to Rowan. So you can see Rowan's the inside guy here. And when he takes off and starts moving this direction, you can see the corner that I've circled. All right, let me move it back a little bit. So this guy right there, he's going to jump it to try and stop Rowan. So here he comes on the snap. There he goes. So now there's an opening for Rowan. So with that guy jumping the bubble, we hit Parker in the opening. And now it's him on the safety. He makes him miss. And then
Nearly falls down, stays on his feet.
Great job staying up.
There's no way he should have been able to get past those two defenders. They both had an angle on him, and it was just a good effort.
Great effort. Great read by Brandon. That's not one of the easier, because that's a long throw to put that on a line. So great job by Brandon putting it on him, and then Parker did the rest.
Yeah, that was good effort on Carter. I thought he was going to get tripped up by the turf monster, but somehow kept his feet and beat 2 guys with an angle. I thought that was excellent.
It was.
Next is this is Derek Borden, number 56, tackle for a loss.
Yeah, you're going to see our D-line is really trying to disrupt them in the backfield. He does a great job of spinning off a block and making a tackle for loss. They're a very dangerous team offensively with some of the schemes they run. When you have a quarterback as athletic as they do, being able to get a tackle for a loss and keep them behind the sticks is pretty important.
And this next one is another defensive play, and this is Caden Tennyson and Tyson Wilson.
Here they are down inside the red zone, and they try and throw. They've got a 6'4", 6'5" receiver, and here we've got our freshman corner on him, and he's battling him the whole way. And gets his hand up right where the offensive guy's hands are, tips the ball, and the ball pops up, and then there's Tyson Wilson to scoop up the interception in the end zone.
Tyson was so far away from that when we were calling the game that you look at this right here. Look how far away he is out of the play. And when they tapped it, I stopped looking because I didn't even see Tyson coming.
Right.
And so I said, "Oh my gosh, he batted it away," and Todd had to point out, "No, it's an interception." I'm like, "Who in the world intercepted it? Where did that come from?"
Yeah.
You can see the effort that
tremendous hustle.
Yeah, that was a great hustle on his part. But how about? I mean, you guys took out number 4 pretty much out of the game. He was a non-factor. This is the big stud receiver they had. And every time I would look down there and see the matchup, it'd be you ought to go man to man, and I'm thinking that's a 14-year-old covering this 6'5", ridiculous. But he did.
He battled.
He did well.
He
did
just
well.
battled.
He did well.
And the thing that he's getting better and better at is because a few plays before that he'd gotten beat on a fade.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's improving at is, okay, I forget that play and I got to play the next one. And not get emotional and so forth. And you're seeing that. So you're seeing maturity on him.
Yeah.
Those plays are going to help him tremendously down the road next year playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he's having to overcome some of these things.
So here's another Parker Kilo touchdown. He had 2 in this game.
Right. You've got here again. You're seeing us use Rowan to our advantage, where you've got a nickel Sam who's playing out to him and a safety. So you can see how that nickel Sam's following him, playing him underneath. They're playing the safety over the top of him. So now you have one-on-one coverage on our outside guy, which is Parker. So Parker runs a double move and gets behind him.
What a great catch!
Great catch. I'll show you here on the wide angle. So he stems in, pushes up, the corner's on his back, and then he breaks in to get the corner to bite and then takes it deep. And that's what creates the separation right here and then up the field, and that's where he got behind him. Great throw, great catch.
Yeah, he put that ball right where it had to be.
Really well done.
This next one is Matt Burton putting pressure, which led to Kendall Jackson getting a sack.
Here's Matt on the outside. He just blows right by the tackle and the running back. And their quarterback does a tremendous job of ducking under the sack.
Yeah.
Again, very athletic. But because of that, now everything's kind of in disarray. Mm-hmm. Kendall, KJ sees he's in trouble and just takes off running, runs him down, and gets a sack right there. Big play for the defense.
Yeah, which has continued to play well.
They have.
Game after game.
That's right.
This next one is one of the Jay Rockwell touchdowns.
Okay, so here again, they're doubling Rowan over there to the field. They're trying to play their weak side safety down in the box to add another run defender, which is why you didn't see us run it as much. So they're trying to get an unblocked player in the box. Well, again, that singles up our receivers. So you see Jay down here on the 30. He just runs a fly right by the corner. The safety tries to go back and help, but there's no way he can do that from where he's lined up. He's too low. When he gets 8 to 10 yards, there's no way he can play over the top of that. So we just went straight to him.
And again, a perfectly thrown
Perfect
ball.
Perfect throw.
This is Cody Guidry getting a sack of his own.
You bet. Cody's playing outside. His job, especially against number 4, is stay outside. Don't let him get outside the quarterback. And so Cody comes in, stays outside, gets a big sack. I think they lost about 8 yards on that play.
Yeah, Cody does a great job hustling.
Mm-hmm.
And then right behind that, Keith Rockwell gets a sack of his own. And watch this pursuit.
Yeah, great job of scraping down the line, good angle, wraps up, very physical, and gets another loss. Pretty important, again, when you're playing a guy that's that explosive.
So here's the second touchdown pass to Jay Rockwell.
We did a double move on the guy here. Now, I'm going to run it back. Watch Brandon here. He gets some pressure. Watch his movement in the pocket right here, right there. A move and then a reset and throw. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy to do, and that's something they practice quite a bit, to be able to just move 6 inches and throws. A lot of people, once they move, they'll just run. Mm-hmm. Well, he's able to move, reset, and then make the throw. So we'll go to the wide angle, and you're going to see Jay here. He's going to take off on his route, set down right here, and shimmy his feet, get the corner to stop, and then he goes right by him, right there. And you can see where he goes by him. Brandon makes the throw. A little bit underthrown because he had to move. Jay does a great job.
Yeah, just powering
going
through.
up.
Yeah.
Being
well,
physical.
that's what, and a guy like Jay, that's what we should be able to use him in that capacity.
Absolutely. He's 6'3".
He's 6'.
Yeah.
He's got a great vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Very athletic. He just need to be able to throw balls up and him come down with
ball.
them.
That's right.
Yeah, he needs to come down with them.
That's right.
And I thought that was great. He did a good job. He did exactly what he should do.
Right
there. So it was great.
Mm-hmm.
This next one was we're glad to have Dalen Jackson back in the game. He's out a game or two, with the little hip flexor or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't tell he ever had a problem.
He looked great. He really did. I think that week really gave him the juice back that he needed. He splits the middle there. He does a great job of running north and south. He keeps his shoulders square and makes
waited
some
on
great
his blocks there.
He did. I'm going to show you from the end zone here some of the blocks that we make by our line. So you can see where the crease is. We're moving them to find out what they're in. You're going to see our tackle and guard kick out. Our center is going to take their linebacker, and then here comes our fullback to kick their linebacker. And then there's your hole. So great job. And they're moving a lot. You know, their D-line, they're moving and, you know, bringing linebackers and so forth. Great job of sorting that out by the linemen to create that crease right there. And then LaDalen just has some of those natural instincts.
And then here comes a good block.
Yep.
If you keep...
This is Jay right here, and then here comes Rowan.
Yeah, look at it. Rowan could have easily pulled up way back there.
Hustles to get
but he gets down there, and that's what got him in the end zone. Was that block by Rowan.
That's exactly.
Otherwise, they'd have probably shoved him out around the 3 or 4 yard line.
Very likely.
Yeah. And then this last one, Rowan finally got open, and
you bet.
After it being covered. And got a touchdown of his own.
That's right. Well, we do a double move. Again, they're one of those teams, you've seen several double moves that we've done here. They bite hard on your move. So you'll see Rowan here on the inside. He's going to sit down, stutter, and go right over the top of the safety. And, of course, he gets really open because the guy bites. So take a look at the wide angle. So you can see the way the route works. He's going to take it up, sit down, work inside. Safety will jump on it, and that's when he goes by him and gets open. Now the thing about these plays is you got to have time.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a while to do all that. Some people say, why don't you do that all the time? Well, you can't always block that long against certain people. That's a great job by the offensive line to give us that kind of time and be able to get some of those double moves for touchdowns.
Well, it was a great game, and luckily the Buckeyes pulled off another great victory.
Yes, sir.
And a sizable victory. Mm-hmm. You know, really spread the score gap there in the second half quite a bit. So now we're on to PG.
Right.
And so we already know PG. We've played PG a lot. We played them this year, in fact, and had a pretty convincing win over them. But to quote you take it 1 week at a time. You put all your energy there because anybody can win on any given. We saw that this weekend.
Yes. You got all these teams that are supposed to win and they didn't.
Even on the collegiate level.
Exactly. Yeah. Lots of people went down that were picked to win. Well, you know, it puts you in a position to be vulnerable when you think that you should just win or you should just be able to defeat somebody on a play just because instead of just doing it.
We beat them once, so
right. Or, you know, the spread is we're by however many points. What difference does that make? You got to go play.
Yeah.
And so you've got PG, who they've gotten their best player back, their best athlete. He's playing. They're playing him at running back and at quarterback. They've kind of done both. They're mixing it up. They're actually playing some spread stuff with him at quarterback some. So they've got some different looks to them. They'll do their normal stuff and put him at running back and play the other quarterback. So they're working him back into it. So there's more that we have to prepare for. You know, there's some uncertainty on some of the things they're doing, but we'll be preparing for both, and we've got to go just take care of our stuff, play physical, and be efficient, make plays when we have the opportunity, get back to that timing and clicking like we talked about, and then you know we'll let the chips fall where they may at that point.
Well, it's like you say, the playoffs. You know, it's one game at a time. It's kind of the proverbial, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, one game at a time. So there we go. So we're going to be playing in Mount Pleasant, Texas next Friday, 7 o'clock. Is that right?
We'll be home.
We'll be home, and they'll be visiting. So Mount Pleasant, not too far to drive. So we need all of you guys to come out and support the Buckeyes, bring some noisemakers, and be really loud. Because that really helps the atmosphere in the stadium and it helps the Buckeyes. So we need the entire Buckeye Nation to come out and play. I'm not sure if we're going to have. Are we under the same contract rules with the?
We'll know probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay, so Tuesday or Wednesday we'll know. But you know we were unable to show the video this last week because UIL sold the rights basically to the national
NFHS.
And so we weren't able to show it, and I understand they had some problems early on and then got it fixed, so I don't know. But you can listen to us on GilmerBuckeyes.com. Hopefully we'll be able to show the entire broadcast, but if not, you can listen to us and try to pull it up on the other site, and you can watch on one and listen on the other, however you want to do it. So thanks for watching the Coaches Show, and come out and support the Buckeyes against PG.